The world is on fire. We're all going to die. Donald Trump is the Antichrist. Bill Clinton is a demon. Hillary Clinton is evil. Barack Obama is a traitor. The news is loud. Our reality, the true reality, not so much. Today on the news, a billionaire tweets about some cryptic, crazy thing, and stocks go up or down. We hear about the Kardashians, or about Elon Musk, or about somebody doing something, and magically the world changes. We don't understand what's going on. We just think, these people run our lives. That's what the news media tells us. If you watch the news, if you listen, if you read a paper, which is hard to find, if you go on Google or anywhere else, you find stories with giant headlines. Things that matter for clicks, not for reality. There's a difference between the news that we're shown and the news that actually matters to people like me and like you. If you just watch the news, you'd think the most important thing that happened right now is an 83-year-old senator said something stupid, or raised an eyebrow, or coughed at the wrong time. A celebrity like Pete Davidson or Ariana Grande or somebody else had a bad week or went back into rehab. Someone said something and now on Twitter or X or posted something on Instagram and it's sedition. American flag emoji is now bad, or it's good, it's patriotic, or it's Nazis. These are things that we get told every day. But let's cut out the absurd headlines, okay? Let's cut out the stupidity of what's actually going on that people are telling us are important. Entire communities are going broke. But I guess that's less sexy, less hot, less awesome than who's going down in a poll or who was voted, the prettiest person this week by a magazine. The problem isn't that this stuff is fake. It just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what someone's wearing to a game, or if Taylor Swift is dating Travis Kelce, and is he going to play football ever again? That doesn't matter. Here's what's actually happening, not in the headlines, but in homes, okay? 60% of Americans are delaying basic life plans, marriage, kids, retirement, because money's too tight. It's too hard. 60%. That's a lot, okay? If you do the math, that's about 290-ish million people. Grocery prices are spiking, not just because of inflation, climate change, shrinkflation, food supply chains, tariffs, immigration issues, all of it, okay? Federal employees are being laid off, some good, some bad, but because of that, they're moving out of the districts that they lived in. So DC has a lot of open housing, Virginia, same thing. Places near big government buildings are shutting down, small businesses who are supported by the federal workers. Do I think our government's too big? Yes. It still is taking a toll. We cut out 100,000 federal jobs. But we're looking at it as a benefit because we're saving pennies on the dollar. Rent is still unaffordable for 90% of people out there. Mortgages are unreachable. And mental health, it's out of control. Anxiety, stress, depression, they're all up. Not just in me, not just in you, but as a country, our mental health is exploding. And there's not enough therapists in the world to go around. There's just not. And the ones that you can get are either really cheap because they're not great, or they're way overpriced. And our mental health insurance, the insurance industry is a joke. They want you to talk to an AI bot over talking to a person. And AI is great, but it's not a therapist. Here's some actual news going on. There's still dirty water in Flint. People can't get clean water in parts of our country. Asbestos led, still prevalent. People who lived on army posts, who deployed, who worked with the government, who sacrificed everything, are now being told that they were poisoned. Oops, sorry, forgot about that. Those are all news headlines for a quick minute, and then they go back to what did the president say, or what did Obama know, or what did Putin say that might, flare up and make people ticked off, or is Ellen a good person or not? I don't care. Okay? It's not like the big news head, man slightly offended by other man. I don't care if you're offended. Okay? The world today we live in, we should stop caring if we're offending people and just let's take care of each other. Our housing is falling apart, the housing that's there. You have apartment buildings. I was in Boston this weekend. You have apartment buildings that you can see are falling apart and they're renting them out for $3,000 a month. There's no joy in working. A lot of people work just so they can afford to live. There's no plan to have kids or to have a family or to just grow. It's now, can I survive long enough to eat today? Or can I work hard enough that maybe I can afford to see a movie? It's not about the joy in life anymore. It's about survival for most of us. Yet we don't talk about that. If you watch the news, which I wouldn't recommend, because it's just angry, and if it's not angry, it's some puff piece at the end for the last 90 seconds. They give you 27 minutes of anger and frustration and a minute and a half of, oh, but look, there's happiness. Here's some happiness I saw this weekend. I went to a Red Sox game. I was in line to go into the game, and there was a kid who just got done cancer treatment. He had a little certificate. He got to go into the game with his parents. And that boy was so happy, not because he got, to go to a baseball game only, but he got to show he beat cancer. Cancer was in remission. Here's his certificate, and the people at the game took care of him. They took care of him. They walked him in. They gave him good seats. They made him feel special. That's some good things going on, right? I took my son to a baseball game. Never gone to Fenway myself. It was a great experience. We had a good time, and it was great. That won't make the news. It doesn't. Why? The news was originally set up as something the government gave free airtime to these people as long as they gave us news, like non-biased, local information. Now, we've had things like the Cuban Missile Crisis, the moon landing. There have been big events that need to have big stories told. The war in Iraq, 9/11. These are all things that make sense. But now we've gotten past that, everyone needs to know news, to news that, depending on which channel you flip to, is how much anxiety you're going to have. If you go to one station, the president is evil, he's burning the country down, everyone hates him. If you go to the next station, he is the savior of the world and he's trying to fix everything. There's not any non-biased news left. And no matter what station tells you they're fair and balanced, they're not. There's no... Why? Commercials, advertising, money. It's all about the money. The government set up these stations with free airtime, and yet they're still making money. I have more ads for medication and how to eat better, how to use Ozempic, how to use Moderna products, how to get vaccines, how to get, if you have psoriatic arthritis, all these things during a news broadcast. Not anything good, just medication and weight loss, and sometimes a car dealership. What has happened to news that's just for us to learn about? So what do? Curate your own news. In other words, find your own news out there. There's YouTube, TikTok, there's newsletters, there's independent journalism in your area, almost everywhere. I'm in Maine. If we have it, everyone should have it. Talk to real people. Like, go about walking in the community, talk to somebody. Hey, what's going on in your life? How are you dealing with this? How are you doing with that? I bet No one's talking about Hunter Biden's laptop or what he said about his dad or Taylor Swift's later scarf. Maybe you've talked to my daughters to talk about Taylor Swift, but even then, you know what my daughters worry about? The price of daycare. They're worried that their kids won't be able to go to school with new stuff because it's so expensive. Having to move out of their community because their community is not safe, but not knowing how they're going to afford it. My girls and my kids are concerned with, hey, I live near an army post, but I'm worried my son or my daughter, they're not going to have the opportunity to have a better life because army posts are usually run down and the community's not great because the government doesn't care about those people. Zoom out, not zoom in, zoom out of the drama. If it doesn't affect where you live, how you eat, your job, your community, it's not that urgent. The world isn't ending. It's just being badly reported, okay? Every day we hear things, oh my God, this is happening. Is it changing your life? Is it going to end your world? Is it going to stop you from eating or working or breathing today? If it's not, shut it off. We live in a weird world. CEOs, presidents, Congress people, we celebrate laying people off. We celebrate getting rid of overhead. Groceries are a luxury. Getting name brand food is a big deal. The future feels postponed. We worry about the stock market because of all of our retirements are in the stock market. We worry about what are we going to do when we're 60 because we can't afford to retire because our kids need our help, so we've been spending all of our money to help them instead of helping ourselves. We worry and we feel like the world is against us. We can't just go and fix a car. We can't just go and redeem a coupon to get groceries cheaper. We can't just spend a day on the back deck with your loved one without the world telling us that it's exploding. But the truth is, the world you live in matters more than the one they scream about every night. The real story is your story. And maybe that's why they don't cover it. You don't make them money. You don't make them money. You don't give them commercial credit. You don't help them with their bottom line. What you help them with is, the only time you help them is when you watch. So stop watching. When I started this series that I've been doing about my anxiety and my depression, I didn't realize all the triggers that were causing me such frustration, anger, anxiety. And I've talked about some of them, everything from the foster care system to, I believe, churches failing a lot of their followers by not supporting them through everything. Now, there's churches out there that do, but there's too much out there that you can see that they don't. I talk about how some teachers are amazing. They push, they pull, they do whatever they can to get their students engaged and to grow in the right way. But there's teachers out there that just stop caring, not because they don't like teaching, but because it's just hard. After all this time, teaching is hard. And sometimes you just give up. Teaching, for me, is why I watched the news. I wanted to see what was going on that my students would watch so I could understand it better, what their parents were watching. But I realize now that their parents were watching, but their parents filtered it to them in a certain way. And the kids I taught, they don't watch the news. Why? They watch this. TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube. They watch these things and they find people that make sense to them. Everything from under the desk news to JP Sears, to Tucker Carlson, to everybody in between. And the reason they watch them is they don't feel like they're trying to sell them anything. All of them are. Every one of the creators on YouTube, TikTok, they do it to make money. Now, a lot of them have more freedom and they can pick and choose where they get their money from, but it's still about money. I don't do this for the money. I would love to have enough subscribers to make money. I would love to have enough views to make money, but that's not why I do it. I do it because I suffer with this anxiety, with this depression, with this stress. I second guess everything I do. I second guess everything I see. And some days it just overwhelms me. I went to the Red Sox game this weekend, and their concession workers are on strike. And listening to the radio, listening to them, listening to ownership, they're all striking for a different reason depending on which channel you listen to. But they're striking because they feel like they're not being treated fairly. And I'm all for that. You strike. Here's the problem I had. Went into the game. My son and I are in the game. And before we go in, there's people that they hired, I guess they call them scabs, okay, to do the job so they could feed the fans. They're yelling at these scabs. They're calling them horrible names. These are people who have to feed their families just like them. What are they supposed to do? Say, sorry, honey, I can't bring home money because I don't cross a line that I don't belong to. They're not part of the union. They're just people looking for a chance to make some money to support their family. I go and wait in line for over a half hour for a piece of pizza. And a lot of the people are kind of grumpy towards them and kind of mean. They're out-of-town fans who probably don't know what's going on. Go in, I talk to the guy. I'm like, how you doing today? He's like, overwhelmed. I'm like, okay. Why, what's going on? He's like, well, I never made a pizza till today. Today's my first day ever doing this, and people are angry. I'm like, you know what, man, you're doing fine. He's like, it's going to be a couple minutes. I'm like, you take your time, man. He's like, what about the game? I said, you know what? You got a TV right there. I can watch it. My son's in the stands waiting for pizza. I have patience. Just that little conversation, you could see his body language and his tone change. I treated him like a human being. I treated him like somebody that, hey, I don't want to do what you're doing. Thank you for doing it. I'll give you your money. I know that at the end of the night, you'll have a little money in your pocket. You go. You do your thing, man. I'm not going to make fun of him. I'm not going to yell at him. I'm not going to call him names. I'm not going to say, hey, go faster. It's not going to fix the problem. Should Fenway and their people work with Airmark to give these guys more money? Probably. But the Airmark employees who are outside picketing and yelling and calling the people going in, trying to support their families' names, no. To me, that's the problem right there. The anger, the vitriol. And they do it, and I hate to say it, they do it because there was cameras present. And that sells. It gets their point across to the masses because they're angry, they're banging on drums. They have a giant inflatable mouse with an Airmark t-shirt on, smoking a cigar. That's for people on social media and the news, for them to make money. It's all about the dollar bills. And I don't care. I care about the guy who, hey, first time doing it, trying to make money for his family, trying to support his life, trying to make the world a better place. And maybe the guy can't get another job because he's got a past. He's got things that he just can't do. Maybe, just maybe, he's a homeless guy who lives in a shelter and they offered him a job. And this is a way for him to maybe, just maybe, get housing. Have a chance to have his life back. But let's call him names. Let's call him something I'm disrespectful for the clicks. Anxiety is not just in your head. It's not the thoughts you get, the thoughts I get aren't always just made up in my head. When we bombed Iran, anxiety. When I hear things going on in Vegas or Dallas or Fayetteville, North Carolina, or Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, or Portsmouth, New Hampshire, or Rhode Island, Warwick, Rhode Island, I get stressed. I get anxiety. Most of the time, my kids are nowhere near any of that. But because it's close, I automatically think the worst. And that's because the news has made it that way. And I suck it up. I feed off the tit of the news. I feed off their poison and their anger, and they're selling us a bill of goods that isn't really factual. So yes, the world is on fire. We're all gonna die. A meteor is gonna come down and kill us like the dinosaurs. We don't know, but that's what they're telling us. And God forbid if we try to change that mentality. God forbid that we try to get back to what's real. Our community, the people around us, the people we love. Let's worry about those people. Let's worry about the people who we can affect daily. I have been doing really well with viewership. Thank you all for watching. I need subscribers. So if you like this, if you watch this, if you think I'm full of crap, if you think I'm a right-wing nutbag or a left-wing nutbag, subscribe anyway. Please. If not, at least like, comment something. If you think I'm crazy, tell me I'm crazy. I've heard it before, but I think this point makes sense. The world is on fire. But before we look at the world on fire, zoom back in on yourself. Is your world on fire? Is your community on fire? What can you do to fix it? Your anxiety, your stress, your depression can be helped when you help others around you, when you do things for your community, when you do things to help change your world, your neck of the woods. Thank you all.